Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, it's not just Paul Begley, but it is also Bart Begley, BC Begley in the house.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What?
What?
I can't do that. What?
Anyway, folks, great to have Bart Begley co-hosting with me today. Bart, thank you for the great videos you did yesterday.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Everything, keep us up to speed on everything going on.
We had a little fun. I told you guys he was traveling and he would be here today. He's live in the Salvation Station. We found him.
Yep. I've surfaced again.
All right.
I was trying to find that missing submarine of Putin's.
How'd you do?
Too much radioactivity. I got out of the water.
There's pills for that. Brock will show us later in the show.
All right. Well, hey, guys, noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. If you're 401k, have you watched the stock market lately? 36,000 to 29.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Even crypto's bad.
Most people out there, that's their 401k is tied up in that stock market.
You're right.
So your value of your retirement funds have been falling over the last 18 months, and you got 2.5 years of Biden to go.
Unfortunately, I remember somebody said that was going to happen back when the debates were going on.
Yeah, I think there was a guy who said that.
So if you elect the other guy, your 401k will tank.
That's what he said. Well, you can do something about that, and that one way would be is to take your finances there in your 401k and roll it over into a gold IRA.
Smart move.
And if you do that, you can protect your value and probably increase it because they're anticipating that silver is going to rise. Put it in silver. Matter of fact, if you do, Noble Gold will give you this beautiful, check this out. This is a 3 ounces.
3 ounces.
American silver coin. It's got Thomas Jefferson on the front. So it's a great collector's item. It's 3 ounces of pure silver. They'll give it to you for free. So not only can you save your 401k, but have a nice collector's item as well.
Wow, that's really nice.
So it's noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com.
Not just gold, but silver.
That's right, silver. Well, they're using silver for every kind of component, electronics,
right?
Solar panels, electric cars, going green, AOC. So you might want to invest in silver right now while it's low. Going to go up.
I agree. All right, let's kick us off, Brock. Why don't you roll us right into our first article here, man? Look at this. Putin declares the American world order is ending. A truly multipolar world has begun. Pastor Begley, what do you think about that opening headline?
I mean, that is huge.
That's a scary headline.
But how does he see that it's ending? What brings it to an end is my question.
Okay, well, it says says the war in Ukraine could mark the end of an international world order led by the United States, according to comments from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin told his lawmakers in Russia back in July that the dominance of the U.S. could be over soon, and that was according to a report from Newsweek. It says, quote, they should realize that they have already lost from the very beginning our special military operation. It's the beginning also means the beginning of a radical breakdown of the American world order. Putin's comments reference the involvement of the United States in providing support to Ukraine and also placing sanctions on Russia. Quote, this is the beginning of the transition from liberal globalist American egocentrism to a truly multipolar world. Putin said the transition can no longer be stopped. The Russian president spoke out of the hostile actions of Western countries like the United States. The, quote, so-called collective West, led by the United States, has been extremely aggressive toward Russia for decades. All right, so what do you...
Well, okay, so this war, so he's saying this war that he has going on...
More Putin being Putin, or is this serious?
This is in his mind, and we got to get into the mind of Putin.
Okay.
All
right.
And in his mind, this war that he's fighting in Ukraine is really a war against the United States and West.
Ideologies.
Yeah,
right?
It's ideologies,
Right.
and he is now moving it to the battlefield. Mm-hmm. He has decided that this is the end of the American world order. He has begun the process. He is going to end Western civilization. And we're going to have a multipolar world, truly multipolar world, which I don't know what in the world he thinks that is. But he is going to lead this new world order. Now, I've got people who write me every day that say, Begley, Putin's fighting the new world order. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Okay.
What you folks don't realize is China wants to be in charge of the new world order. United States would like to be in charge of the new world order. You heard Biden say that. And Putin wants to be in charge of the new world order. Now, they all three got different views of what that new world order is, but they all three want the same thing. Total control.
To be the leader.
The leader of the world.
Right.
And Putin's ideal of a new world order is one that eliminates the West. He does not want a free society. It's Putin's way or the highway. He has shown you what he's about. He'll drop a bomb on anybody's neighborhood. He's threatening nuclear bombs. He will use biological chemical weapons. He is boot, scooting, nuking, shooting Putin. I mean, really. And I'm not sticking up for the Joe Biden's administration or for a lot of the Western society's mentality of world dominance, imperialism. There's a lot of things I think that the West has done we should have stayed out of a lot of wars that we got involved in over the years. I'm going to mention Vietnam. I'm going to tell you Korea. I'm telling you right now, a lot of the stuff we did in the Middle East.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you can't say you got to get rid of all democracy, all republics. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the one world government under anybody. I don't care if it's China, Russia, America, or princes and kings in Europe. I don't want it.
I don't want to be under Putin, Biden, or President Xi.
No.
Be honest.
No, we just want to be left alone out here in the Midwest. Honestly.
Can't we, the good words of Rodney King, can't we all get along?
Rodney King was right. Can't we all just get along? And Putin, I don't know if there's a way. He obviously can't get along with Ukraine. I'm not going to get into all of that, but all I can say is that those two people can't get along.
No.
Right? And I don't know. I understand the historic significance of the Kiev Rus and everything else, but I mean, still, guys, war is a gigantic step. Brock's about to show us articles here coming out of Kiev and Lviv. I mean, we don't have to go to this level.
And here's the thing. The way to change things is not by brute force, which is what Putin is advocating.
Right.
Annihilation and just bringing people to their knees. That's KGB tactics.
Yeah, war is a horrible thing.
This is not the way to go, guys. Why can't we all sit down and talk through it and figure out a way to coexist? And I think that's what Trump really wanted to do. But look at this. Look at the ugliness.
In the 4 years that he was president, right, North Korea, he communicated with North Korea.
Yes, he did.
Right now, North Korea is launching missiles left and right.
Right.
Russia didn't invade Ukraine until Biden took office.
Right.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, it looked like he was trying to shoot for peace and during his administration globally across all global lines, right?
Yep. He was trying to befriend Russia. Let's sit down. Let's work something out. But the Democrats wouldn't let him. They immediately went after this Russia hoax and the fake dossier and the fake, Christopher Steele and all of that, and turned it so political that, it didn't want Trump to even try to approach the Russians on a peaceful way to do it, like Reagan did with Gorbachev.
Right.
They didn't want Trump to go to North Korea and step across and shake hands with Kim Jong-un, and he kept him from firing rockets for 2.5 years.
Right.
He was pulling slowly getting out of the Middle East and trying to establish maybe some, military bases, but keep the Taliban at bay.
The Abraham Accords.
He's the guy that orchestrated the Abraham Accords, trying to bring peace. And, by the way, he brought world prosperity. Not just the United States, but the global prosperity was taking place. And we've watched now in less than 2 years an absolute decimation of world economies and world stability right now.
Right. I mean, right here on Tuesday, the emergency services warning of more Russian strikes a day after a series of Russian attacks left at least 19 people dead and over 100 injured. Ukrainian officials reported that energy infrastructure in the western city of Lviv had been hit earlier, while the city of Zaporizhia in the south was also targeted this morning. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his nightly address on Monday that Ukraine will not be intimidated by the strikes that took place on Monday, which targeted various regions, including the capital of Kiev. The multiple attacks by Russia came several days after a blast partially destroyed the Kerch Bridge. Did you see that video?
Oh, yeah, I did.
And that links the Russian mainland to Crimea, which Moscow annexed back in 2014. So the war is a terrible thing. If you guys have seen any of the videos or pictures that are coming out of it on social media or Telegram, you'll know.
And there's atrocities on both sides. You know it's happening.
Yeah, no one's an angel here. We're just saying that it might be time. Enough.
It could have been avoided.
Enough.
It could have been avoided. There was a better way to approach this.
You didn't have to poke the bear. So what's it say in Revelation about the bear?
Yeah, the bear is...
Help us out here with why Putin and Russia is such a significance when it comes to the end time.
I'm glad you brought that up, Bart, because the Bible tells us that in Daniel that the bear was one of the world powers that rises up and takes a bite and pulls 3 ribs out of the world, and the bear has it in its teeth.
Wow.
It has the teeth of iron. It's a brutal warmongering power. Okay,
wow.
So we have the leopard, which is probably Germany. We have the lion, which is probably Great Britain. Mm-hmm. We have the bear, which is Russia. Mm-hmm. We have the rooster, which is the wings that are on the lion's back, and if you know, France is the rooster, and they always follow Great Britain wherever they go. And then we have what's called the eagles, the wings of the eagle, which is probably the United States of America. They're all in Daniel's prophecy, and they all are on a collision course to create a new world order.
Wow.
So even though Putin says he wants his, and Biden says he wants his, and President Xi is pushing communism, ultimately, this ugly mess will create a global antichrist. It's coming. So we don't need to point fingers at each other and blame each other, because overall, this whole big monster is coming. It says it's the 4th kingdom, and there's none like it on the earth. It has teeth that are of iron, and it will stamp out the residue of the rest of those kingdoms. So it is a new world order. It's coming. Okay, now who's going to lead it? I don't know. I don't think it's Biden or Putin.
But the bear is an actor.
But the bear is a definite actor, an aggressive actor, according to prophecy.
And here's the bear right here in Lviv. This is what we're talking about. Russia says that their attacks targeted like energy infrastructure and stuff like that. Ukraine, of course, is saying that they were dropping them in playgrounds and
apartment complexes.
Look at this. Right here's video. I'm not for sure what was hit right there.
Well, that an apartment complex was hit originally there, and then you'll see the rest of this detonation.
Whoa.
Yeah. 19 people died in that, 100 were injured in that. This was in a residential neighborhood, but
in Lviv, yeah.
In Lviv, yes.
So look at that. Person's running. So that is definitely civilians running down the sidewalk, guys.
And that's not World War II. For those of you who don't send me an email saying, Begley, that was World War II.
No.
And don't tell me that this was
that little Volkswagen Golf is definitely a 21st century vehicle.
Yeah, and don't say this was what do you call that when you fake the video? It's,
like CGI and stuff like that, computer generated, edited, and all that. Yeah. No, that's not. I'm not even gonna respond to that. So right here, several explosions rocked the capital of Kiev and the cities of Lviv, Chernihiv, and I don't even know how to say that one. On Monday, after Russia accused Ukraine of orchestrating a powerful blast that damaged a key bridge, this is what we were talking about. They said several explosions happened in the center of the capital, which is Kiev. And this is according to the mayor, Vitaly Klitschko. He was a good boxer back in his day.
Wasn't he the world champion?
He was the world champion boxer. He had a brother. I don't know if they were twins, but they were really good back in the day.
They're from Ukraine.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Them boys.
Tough.
Yeah, what Reuters witness saw a huge crater at one of the city center's intersections, and nearby cars completely wrecked, blackened, and pitted with shrapnel. So now, see,
Is that Reuters?
Reuters said they saw that and took that picture.
Now, Reuters is a
newswire service.
yeah, absolutely, and right out in New York City. I've seen
They're everywhere, right? Yeah. So explosions were reported in Lviv. Like I said, Russia abandoned an early advance in Kiev in the face of the fierce resistance, which definitely was bolstered by Western arms.
That is true.
Western arms are pouring into Ukraine, which is evening up this battle.
Right. And that's partly why Putin is so irritated.
And I can see,
He's saying, look, Ukraine belongs to Russia. You guys don't need to even get involved in this. Why are you involved?
Well, he comes out of the KGB. You got the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. And there's 16 NATO countries. It's 2022. There's 32 NATO countries. And we're right on his doorstep. So in his experience in 30 years, right, we've been pushing the envelope. NATO has been
pushing we lead NATO, right?
Yeah, which America is. Yeah.
So you can understand Putin's position. I'm not discounting it. He's trying to control his country, but I think he's bit off way more than he can chew. When you make the statement the American world order is over, how? Tell me how. Unless you're going to drop 10 nukes tomorrow and really stir the pot. And that's possible. And that's why we're talking about $12 billion worth of radiation tablets that has been purchased by the United States. And this is why everybody is on edge.
Wow.
$12 billion.
Now listen, Pastor Paul, me and Brock was working something out. If you don't want to buy a nuclear radiation kit and survive the nuclear apocalypse, Amazon, Brock Show, will let you opt out of this life. You don't have
What?
You don't have to purchase a $200 family emergency radiation kit because Amazon is selling suicide kits. You don't have to be here.
Are you serious? No, serious. Are you serious?
Lawsuit claims Amazon is #1 seller of deadly chemical used in suicides.
Now, is this ain't fake
This
news?
is a real article here. It says lawyers who are representing parents suing Amazon for selling, quote, suicide kits to teenagers who died by suicide say they have reached a breaking point. Amazon lawyers have allegedly told parents the online retailer had the right to sell these so-called suicide kits. Amazon defended the retailer selling them in court. The kits are described in a lawsuit as bundled items that Amazon suggests buyers purchase together, including a potentially lethal chemical called sodium nitrate, a scale to measure the lethal dose, a drug to prevent vomiting, which would save you, and a book with instructions on how to use the chemical to attempt suicide. Those should all be sold together, Amazon says. The online retailer's lawyers also allegedly said it would be unfair and inhumane to hold Amazon liable for the teen's death. Pastor Begley, take it away in this ungodly world we live in. You either want suicide pills or a suicide kit, or do you want radiation pills? This is too much for the simple people like me. We need a pastor in this time.
Well, Jesus is the answer. Now, you don't want the suicide pills, and you might want the radiation pills, but you better go. Let's start with Jesus first.
Okay.
Before you pick either one of these bottles. Okay. All right.
Okay.
And you got to put your faith in that. I'm not going to put my faith in this.
The family
radiation emergency kit. I'm not buying that.
Premium protection.
I'm not buying that, Bart, and putting that and putting that on my little shelf in my little first aid kit and saying, you guys, don't worry, if there's a nuke, we're going to all be safe. My faith's got to be a lot higher than that. Right? And I'm definitely not going to say, let's just all get a pill and take a cyanide and just die together. But like Heaven's Gates cult, and the guy with the
Jim Jones came knocking this morning.
This is crazy. I can't even believe this. I mean,
Wow.
really, are you sure that this is real? This is insane.
I kind of agree with that one guy. It is a little overpriced. $200 for a nuclear survival kit at home? That's kind of...
So the answer the pastor would say is Jesus Christ. And isn't this weird that we're talking about, do you want to die through radiation, or would you just like to
end it
yourself?
There's options out there, guys. It's 2022.
This is crazy. This is really, really, we've lost it here.
The sheep need a shepherd in this time. This is how you get lost right here, Pastor.
Well, anybody that tells you that you need to take a suicide kit, go ahead and get that and be ready. Don't follow them. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't have some iodine pills because this is a nuclear world. I'm not saying that wouldn't be all right. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But you can't put your faith in that. Don't say, okay, I got my pills, I'm fine, I'm good. We're good here.
Right.
We have power outages going on everywhere. We have the grids that are falling apart.
Bangladesh has 140 million people without power right now. It's the world's largest blackout ever, and the government is saying it's because of infrastructure. How does this keep happening, Pastor Begley? It's kind of like, I'm not trying to say it was organized, but wow, this energy crunch hits all over the world
at once.
California, Europe, Bangladesh at once. How does that happen? Is that
It is orchestrated. We could say, well, we've just neglected our infrastructures. Why did we neglect our infrastructures?
80% of the nation, around 140 million people, are left without power.
You know what that means? All the food in that nation, if you don't get the power on in 48 hours or so, is going to spoil and rot.
Wow.
No drinking water will be available. Within 3 days, you're going to have massive death and chaos. This is a country with 140 million people without power. I mean, who ever heard of such a thing?
Now, in Bangladesh, certain areas in the northwest region of the country were completely unaffected. I don't know much about Bangladesh, but if one of the audience members wants to research it real quick or something, I bet you the government has all their buildings in that region.
And all the government employees live in that region.
I bet you the leadership lives right there.
And that's the same kind of thing that we're hearing coming out. And that wasn't from a storm. That's not from a cyclone. That's not from a catastrophe. It wasn't from an earthquake.
Remember Robo-Mom had to have a blackout, but Gavin Newsom's house was unaffected?
Oh, I remember that.
And we shot a rocket. We shot a missile that day.
Yeah.
We tested a missile, but Robo-Mom went without power.
Remember in California when it was real hot for like a week or two, and Gavin Newsom said, first of all, they're getting ready to pass a new bill that you have to drive electric cars in California. Yeah. But then they turned around the next moment and said, oh, by the way, nobody plug in your electric cars tonight because the electric grid can't handle it. How are we going to go? How are you going to make that transition if your infrastructure is falling apart? How are you going to tell everybody they have to drive an electric car? You got to turn your thermostat off, or you got to, don't plug it in.
The state would tell you this. The state would say, don't ask questions. Here's a nice song called I Believe. And just listen to the music. There's no more questions. Brock, would you play us a nice song called I Believe?